Welcome to Lay It On Me, a space where we come together to explore all of life's moments. I'm Claire, and I'm here to listen, share what I can, and most of all, hold space for you. This is a place where you can lay down whatever is on your heart and be met with no judgment, just honesty, love, and connection. Whether it's something big or small, light or heavy, lay it on me, and let's see where we end up together. Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Lay It On Me. I'm so grateful that you're here. Today's episode is actually going to be a little relaunch of the second half of episode 1. So the first episode was a little bit longer than I intended, and I wanted this section of it to stand alone. So what this episode is about is living a creative life and pursuing a creative career and what that means and what that might look like. So this conversation was sparked from a submission from a listener page. Hello. This topic of conversation was sparked by the very first submission I got for the show, and I really feel like it is a really, really valuable conversation, so I wanted to just put this episode out there again so that it can stand alone. It was really, really exciting to talk about. It was kind of interesting listening back to it myself. I already feel like I've come a little ways since episode 1, but I really wanted this episode to stand alone. If you are a creative or an artist out there, or you know one, or there's someone in your life that might benefit from listening to this conversation, please send it their way, share it. And I just wanted this conversation, this topic, to have its own place, since it may have gotten lost in the second hour of the very first episode. I know that it was very, very long. And so, yeah, and I just wanted to add a few current thoughts of mine at the top here. And then the rest of this episode will just be what was originally from episode 1. And I do still really believe in all of the things that I said there, which is really wonderful. But it is really interesting to see where I am in a different place, even though it hasn't been that long. In this episode, I talk about how we can maybe turn jealousy into inspiration by, instead of trying to cut off being affected by another person, if you're getting jealous, trying to use that effect of the other person to foster some inspiration for your own creativity and not feel like you have to cut off that part of yourself that feels affected by the other person. That's something that I really, really believe in. I am someone that is absolutely affected by everyone, especially people's art and creativity. I don't want to shut that part of myself off. I want to find inspiration within it. So I talk a lot about that. I also talk about how it's important to allow ourselves as artists and creatives, especially when we are pursuing this as a career, to have a full experience of our life outside of our art as well. And this is something that I really feel like is something that might come with age and general life experience as a whole. And it's something that people say time and time again, but it is really valuable. And the more that I work to integrate this belief into the way that I experience my life gets richer and my art gets richer too. Now, overall, this conversation is about how we can flourish as creatives in many different avenues, emotionally, creatively, financially. And the biggest thing that I just want to hammer home for today, and to express why this topic and conversation is so important and why I do feel like it's valuable to put this episode here on its own with this one topic. Our lives as creatives are unlike anyone else's, and one artist or creative person to another is going to be completely different. That is part of the beauty of leading a life like this, but it can also be what is very difficult because there's no blueprint, there's no timeline, there's no strict expectations, although I know that we are the types that love to put those on ourselves. They really aren't there. And so when we're building a life like this, the most important thing is to get curious with yourself about what you really want from living this life and what living this type of life gives you and how it fuels you or how it drains you, and all the different ways that you can adjust and figure out a way to do things that works for you and that fuels you more than it drains you. Living a creative life is one that, if you can allow yourself to believe that there is no wrong way to do this, there is no wrong way. There's also no right way, because there's no right or wrong when it comes to creating a life filled with creativity, pursuing a creative career, identifying as an artist, whatever words or titles or phrases that feel like they connect for you, use anything you like, but living this type of life is one that you can continually learn from and adjust along the way to continue to make it work for you. Because part of the beauty of not having a blueprint is that you get to create it. And I really believe that one of the absolute biggest things, and after this, we'll get into the original conversation, which I do feel has some really valuable nuggets in it. You can tell that it was the first one that I recorded. I can tell, at least. I felt like I was a little wild in terms of my energy, but hey, we're different every day. But the biggest thing is that we are responsible for our life, and we have to take responsibility of our life, of our career, of our art, of our everything. We have to take responsibility for ourselves. And if we want to create a fulfilling creative life and have a fulfilling creative career, however we define that, that is up to us. And so it is up to you to decide what you want. Decide what you want out of this life. Decide what you're gonna do to get it. What are you willing to do to get this life that you want, to feel the way that you want to feel? And if you're pursuing a creative career or launching into any type of creative endeavor, I believe there is no failure. There's no failure when it comes to creativity. Because when it comes to creativity, creating art, you name it, we are always learning about ourselves. We're always learning about other people. We're always learning about the world around us. If by some definition, some creative project could be deemed a failure, I would want to investigate that more, because what are we defining success as in a creative career or in a creative project? I, for one, believe that when it comes to creativity, success is often defined as, well, first creating something, right? So if you've created something, anything within a project or on a career path, that's success already. And then beyond that, creativity for me is so much about connecting to my own point of view, connecting to my own perspective, seeing how that intersects with other people, seeing how that intersects with the world around me, and then seeing how all of this stuff and all of these people and all of these feelings and experiences and everything that's involved, how that can all go together and in what way, and what art can we make out of that. There's no failure in doing something like that. There just isn't. And so, again, it is up to us to take responsibility for ourselves in this life, to take responsibility of ourselves pursuing whatever creative career or passion that we are pursuing. And this is something that is very, very present for me right now as I launch into a huge new phase of this creative career of mine in pursuing theater here in New York. I decided at the end of last month that I was just going to figure out how to produce a show. And that's what I've been doing. And all throughout college and other training programs that I went to, so many teachers and professors and coaches would always say, especially in a city like New York, to be a working actor or working creative here, you have to oftentimes make your own work. And I didn't quite know what that meant. And I didn't quite know how to explore that type of possibility, because I was like, well, I want to be in musicals. I don't know how to write a musical. I don't know that I want to do that. So what does that mean? How do I make my own work? And I think I was seeing this side of that path where making your own work oftentimes meant people writing their own shows. And I was fortunate enough to go to college with some people that write musicals, and I was able to explore that a little bit with them, be sort of in mini workshops and stuff like that. And that was always so exciting. And so now this new endeavor, I texted the friend that I'm planning this show with a few days after we really were deep into this process of figuring this out, and I texted him and I just said, Larry would be proud. One of our acting teachers that always reminded us that not only is it an option, but sometimes it's the best option in a city like this to create your own work. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And it feels really, really incredible. And I just feel like it's a big step in me really living this belief that I have that I am responsible for my own fulfillment in this life. I am responsible for whatever success I am after in this career, and I get to define what that means, and I get to choose how to move forward with that. And so with that, let's launch into the conversation from episode 1 with Paige's submission and my scattered but hopefully valuable thoughts on living this creative, chaotic life that I am living. And as always, I hope that if anything resonates here with you out there, I would love for you to let me know. I would love to have a real conversation about all of this, especially in the phase that I'm in with all these creative projects and endeavors. I'm learning a lot about what it really means to show up for myself and what it really means to live with these beliefs that I am talking about. So, all right, let's just dive in. Thanks so much for being here. This beautiful topic submission from Paige. Thank you, Paige. This is the first message I got once I started asking people. So thank you. And I'm so excited to dive in. Okay, so Paige said, I believe in a world where creative professionals are supported holistically, not just as performers, but as full spectrum human beings with thriving lives outside of their craft. How can we create and normalize more systems that allow artists to flourish financially, emotionally, and creatively? Paige. Thank you for sending this in. I'm going to read your belief again. I believe in a world where creative professionals are supported holistically, not just as performers, but as full spectrum human beings with thriving lives outside of their craft. I believe that too. Thank you for putting that into those incredible words. There is such a misunderstanding of what it can mean to live a creative life. I don't want to say that it's a misunderstanding of what it is, because I actually think it's very accurate of what it can be, but also it's not everything that it can be. Okay, we're opening up to possibilities here, right? That's such a big theme of all of this, and everything for me is just opening up to what is possible and understanding that what we know might not be the whole picture. It's probably not. It usually isn't. How can we create and normalize more systems that allow artists to flourish financially, emotionally, and creatively? I was reflecting a lot about this, and I noticed I don't really have as many thoughts about specifically like creating systems, but I do have a lot of thoughts about how we can build the foundation for those systems to work if we can build them, or if someone else can figure out what they are. Because I really believe that such a big part of this artist struggle, if you will, and this notion that a creative life is messy or confusing or improbable or any more that you might be able to put there. When it comes to living a creative life and having a creative profession, there's definitely lines that can be drawn there, but for the sake of this conversation, I think it can be really useful to like blur the lines a little bit and then decide which is which and where that distinction is. And I think it's a really, really personal thing. I think a big thing that we can continue to do and do more of and encourage more of is investing in ourselves as creatives and allowing ourselves to be as connected to our community, to our creative expression of whatever flavor it might be, and to invest in what could be possible if we are, for one, especially in the industry that we're in, theater, performing, that we are in this together. We are not at competition with one another. If our goal is to like have a job, to get a certain job within a creative profession, then there is a level of competition to fill the position. But I think to do the thing, to actually show up and live that life and be that creative person, that's the most abundant energy that exists. No one doing their creative thing could ever take away from your ability to do yours. Because like, I don't know about you, but I have never, ever been depleted or creatively drained from like witnessing magic, whether it's in a performance. Like, I'll just be specific and think about live theater. Seeing beautiful live theater is why I want to do it, is why I'm pursuing this career, because I watched it and I'm inspired by it, and like that gives me the energy to do it and want to do it. The fact that other people are doing it and I get to see it is why I get to do it in the first place. It's why I even know what it is and that it's possible. And so this idea that if we are in competition with one another as creatives, then we're setting ourselves up to fail, because then we can't get that inspiration from one another. So that's on the internal side. Allowing ourselves to flourish, I think, has a lot to do with like letting others in. For me, that is true. I know this is true for you, Paige, also, but for you, the greater you, whoever you are, that could be true for you too. If you're a creative that struggles with jealousy or insecurity or feeling like, there's this give and take between you and other people and like they could take it from you or what, like if that's you, I'm going to ask you, what would happen? What would happen if you got curious and more inspired, at least attempted to be more inspired by that feeling, being affected by this other person? Because I think like that's what's there at the core. Like if you're jealous of another person, like you're being affected by that other person. What would happen if instead of jealousy, you could try to frame it as inspiration, right? Like, like now that I'm saying that, like it feels cliche or it feels lofty or it feels like just change the narrative and then you'll be fine, which like is true. But sometimes I have fallen into this trap, and I've witnessed other people fall into this trap of trying to cut off the effect from that other person because you're jealous, because if I get jealous, then the solution is to not be affected by that other person. And I don't think that is really what can work. It's not what worked for me because I want to be affected. I am affected by this other person. That's what I have not been able to shut off. In all my years of masking and pretending that I don't have feelings and I don't know things, I've shut off a lot of those parts of myself, or I had in the past. But what I can't shut off, because what is just not possible, it's not a fundamental part of who I am, is the ability to not be affected by another person. I'm always affected by another person. And so what I would love to get from that is inspiration, is energy for more creation, So, okay, yes. So I'm going to wrap that one up. That's an internal flourish, an internal investigation, an investment into yourself to allow yourself to flourish, to be creatively fulfilled with other people. Like that's, for me, it's such a big part of it. It's why we're here together. And then some of it also goes back to getting curious about what we're believing. So, everything I've already said about these beliefs and investigating what they are to us, what they mean, why they're here, getting really curious about our beliefs about this industry. I'll say theater in New York City or just union theater around the country, right? What beliefs do we have about it? Do we believe that there are a limited amount of jobs? Okay, like there's a limited amount of jobs. Do we believe that we are in competition with one another while we're auditioning? Do we believe that? Or do we believe that the right person will always get the job? And if you're the right person, you'll get the job. If the job is right for you. Do we believe that that's true? Or do we believe that it's like this competition and this effort and this one-upmanship and all of that? I worked with a career coach, shout out Biz of Show, shouting out everyone here, a career coach a few years back, and I had to tackle a big belief. I was tackling a big belief that I felt like this career, this choice that I had made to pursue a career in theater, it's such a crazy thing to do. I was believing that this choice I had made could not take up less than 110% of my time, my energy, my attention, or else it would all disappear. It would all fall out from under me. I used to say to my last coach, hire people to help you guys. It's great. I've gotten so much. My last coach, Lana, I remember saying to her once, like, I'm scared, when's the other shoe gonna drop kind of feeling. I'm scared it's all gonna slip out from under me. And I remember her being like, what? Like, what is gonna slip out from under you? Like, what are you afraid of losing, actually? When's the other shoe gonna drop? What is that shoe? And I was like, I don't know. And then I had a meltdown and I realized, this is the feeling. I was scared that I would just lose all control. And I did. And then I was like, okay, I guess this is fine because now I'm still here. But anyway, this idea that this career had to be everything and more to me was so real. It was so real that I wasn't allowing space for any real life. I wasn't allowing space to really experience other parts of my life. It was a very perfectionist, all or nothing mindset where, it was either I was giving this my complete all or I was giving it nothing. And just that, really tackling that, I was like, okay, so that can't be true. Like, it just can't be true because I'm burning out and it's not working either. Doing this isn't reaping the benefits that I so desire. So something's got to change. And she always reiterated something I'd heard before. Your life outside of being an actor makes you a better actor. I had teachers tell me that. I had people, I had heard coaches and successful actors and these people. That's certainly a thing a lot of people say. But it wasn't until I was tackling this belief of, oh my gosh, my life outside acting makes me a better actor. And I'm realizing I'm not having a life outside of it. I have a life outside of it because I wasn't actually booking gigs. I wasn't doing that full time, but I wasn't experiencing it and I wasn't allowing that space to be there and I wasn't allowing it to inform my life as an actor because I wasn't experiencing it. There was just this big disconnect. And a big thing that changed for me was being able to reconnect to my own experience completely outside of acting, completely outside of even processing this part of my career, but being able to fully reconnect to my life on a deeper level, feel more deeply again and experience things more fully is when I really, really started to realize I could bring that into my work and it was working. It was informing my work as an actor. Within thinking about this question, how can we build and normalize systems that allow artists to flourish financially, emotionally, creatively? So I think I've touched a lot on the emotional and the creative flourishing side because for me, I was in the way. The system that's in place makes it difficult, for sure. The things I was taught in school and just through different experiences pursuing this, it makes it hard to really flourish emotionally and creatively because there is a lot to do. There are a lot of hoops to jump through. There are a lot of logistics to manage and deal with and understand. But at the core of it, I was in the way. I know for certain now that I was in the way of myself feeling more creatively fulfilled because the systems around me haven't changed that much, but I so have. Thank God. I really feel so much more emotionally and creatively fulfilled as an artist simply because I am doing all of this other work on myself within therapy and coaching and also exploring new creative endeavors like this here podcast because there are less logistics to understand and deal with. There's a lot of logistics to like doing this, and that is part of what held me back. But it's not like pursuing an acting career. You don't have to go audition and sign up and get in line and wait in the room and have your name called and then sing for someone at 9 a.m. and you haven't sung for a week and it doesn't sound good and they aren't gonna give you this job right now probably, and that's a really hard part of pursuing this career is that there is this process to audition, to meet people, to try and make these connections within the industry to show up in that way and be a trusted player in this industry. So to find other creative avenues, that's been really key for me in the past couple years. And that's, again, one of the reasons why I'm here, is to allow myself to follow the spark and to have this creative expression and to have a tiny piece of that inside of me be a little more fulfilled. Now, I think in terms of more financial flourishing for artists and to get more into system talk, those go hand in hand. It all goes together. But I think that some of the systems in place are more preventing the financial flourishing, because even when you make it, even when you have the top job, let's say you're on Broadway, there's a minimum payment requirement within the union, and there is a range of salary expectations, and none of them are earth-shatteringly, life-changingly incredible to where now you're financially stable as an artist. That isn't the system in place, nor do I believe that's the goal, because I just don't know how possible that is, because I don't know how much that needs to be the goal. I think part of building a new approach to this career, to this creative life, is accepting that it's not the most financially viable career option. It's not. Could it be one day? Maybe. And is it in some ways, to a certain degree, like, if you're famous and there is financial success to be found, but it's not the given, and it's not the common experience as far as I have seen. For that, the financial success aspect to come from that job alone, or that type of job alone, right? And I think allowing ourselves, especially as young creatives, to flourish more is maybe, at least right now, accepting that financial flourishment, that financial gain or milestone or whatever it is that you're reaching for, maybe it's not coming from this thing. Maybe it will, maybe it can, but maybe it's not. And so to accept that as the reality, if you want to, that means we can maybe redefine a little bit about what it means to have a successful and flourishing creative life and creative career. And if we want to call it a creative career, that does tie the finances to it, at least in my head. But maybe we can redefine what that means and how that happens and what it looks like. And, this comes in the forms of, if you have ever met a working actor in New York City or LA or wherever, they probably have multiple jobs, and they probably mostly have multiple jobs. And that sucks a lot of the time. I'm not saying that this is what should be normal, but it is normal. And maybe we can redefine how we show up for that and what we are willing to work for in these different avenues. So I have been exploring this so much in my own life, in having these feelings of, okay, I'm not holding out for this career to give me this level of financial gain. I'm not. So what am I gonna do for that? I'm growing up, I'm adulting, I'm trying my darndest. So I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? And for me, it's looked like a number of different things. It's looked like trying my hand at balancing a 9 to 5 a 9 to 5 desk job. It's looked like me trying to balance that with auditioning and pursuing theater. That didn't work. Auditions are also 9 to 5. That did not work. For me, I know people balance it, and certain types of jobs, maybe you can audition in the middle of the day or like take a day off. People work full time and audition. People do it. I could not. It's looked like that. It's looked like bars and restaurants, the cliche of all cliches, waiting tables, tending bar. I'm a working actor in New York City, right? Now I nanny and babysit. And while I'm also not, now I'm on track for like financial success with my 2 part-time babysitting job. That's not the goal there either. But what I'm getting at is this constant, for me, has been pretty constant redefinition of what it might mean to make money from other things and continue to pursue theater. And eventually, I will make more from theater. I joined the union. A big catalyst of that is just knowing there is a baseline pay. There are rules and regulations in place for working conditions, working environments, wages, what have you. I was like, oh, great. So I am not gonna spend my time pursuing theater jobs that will never pay me enough. I'm not going to pursue those anymore. That was a big catalyst of joining the union. Okay, this means I'm no longer considering any of these non-union gigs, any of these just doing it for fun, whatever. That's not happening anymore. It's all still just for fun. That's a big one to remember. This is all just still for fun. I am pursuing theater because it's my favorite thing in the world. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to do. Why else am I doing it? So anyway, it's all still just for fun. But I was tackling this navigation of what am I working towards here as a career? Okay, ultimately, yes, I want to have a different level of financial stability from this career, from these jobs, because then I don't have to work the other 3 all the time as well, right? Like that'd just be too much. And it was too much doing lower paid gigs or no paid gigs. Then I was adding that on and working just as much, if not more, to just continue to be at a baseline. Now the idea for me is, okay, I'm setting myself up to be in a position where I'm stable, I'm working towards growing more, and it'll shift. And it will shift again. When I get a theater job again, it will shift. And because I've also put myself in a position where I know that I will be able to do that. I'm building the foundation for myself now to feel a sense of security within myself and my workload and routine and earnings and all of that. And then to where the jobs that I am auditioning for within theater will also provide a level of that financial stability as well. And again, this career isn't creating the most financial success ever for most people in it. It's not just like a woo and now you're off and you're making all this money because you're famous and whatever. That happens when it happens, and that's not the majority of working actors. And so anyway, I for myself am building the expectation that this will continue to shift, and that taking stock and taking care of where I am right now and doing work that I need to do and can do right now in order to set up that stability for myself, that is more than fine and okay. It is what I need to be doing so that then I can pivot and put more attention on this career where it matters, where I'm in control. So the wanting to financially flourish as an artist, right now, I'm not in control of that coming from my art. That's fine. But I'm in control of the discipline that I have to get another gig if I need it in any other aspect, babysitting, bartending, to manage my time and my work so that I can also focus and manage my emotional and creative fulfillment that I am in control of. And I am in control of that completely. And that's what I've been able to prove to myself because, again, the systems around me haven't changed that much since I've been inside of it, but I sure as hell have. So I also think a big part of this for me is expanding what it means to live this creative life and to have this creative career, and to know that it doesn't have to always be 110% of my time and energy, because then I'll be left broke and starving and dissatisfied. And if I'm putting all my stock into this one thing giving me all the things that I need and I want right now, it's not happening. And so expanding what that means and allowing myself to actually receive what I'm getting from all the other areas of my life and find ways that fuel me. There have been jobs that I've had that just drain the life out of me. And I'm doing fine as like a young adult living in New York City, like working at a restaurant, but I don't have any emotional or creative capacity for anything else because I'm so exhausted and drained from this job. That wasn't working. And so I pivoted to find jobs and things to do that can fuel me in the ways that I need them to, whether it's financial or otherwise, and that don't also drain me from the other endeavors that I have, the creative ones, the pursuing this career, this creating this podcast for fun, this, allowing myself to redefine what it can mean to pursue this career, to want what I want out of this career, and to find other things that give me that, that fill my time and fill my cup. And I think that a big part of being a creative professional is being willing to redefine what it means all the time. And as our world changes, as industries change, and even as they don't, as we try and create better systems among ourselves, we can know that there doesn't have to be one way to do this. There doesn't have to be this end-all, be-all, one formula or one extraction from this career that we get to have. This set idea of what it means to live this life, and especially what it means to other people. And I think thinking about creating systems to support artists holistically, or believing in a world where creative professionals are supported holistically, I really believe that we have to start by accepting the fact that these creative lives that we are living are the most unpredictable, because we're creating them as we go. We're learning as we go. The baseline of being able to move forward in a new way is developing that acceptance for these creative careers to be confusing, to be frustrating, to be misunderstood. I think there's a big part of wanting the world to understand what it is and what we're doing and what it's worth and all of those things. And for me, a big attachment that I have to this sense of financial systems in place for artists and paying artists more, that needs to happen. Do not get me wrong. We need better opportunities for people to do creative things and make a living, and we need maybe more support with things like the National Endowment for the Arts, maybe not getting slashed to pieces all the time. It being a part of this society, this greater society that we're building together. We're all here building it together, by the way. That's what we're doing here on Earth. And the arts being a part of that. I think that the value placed on money within that idea is just really hard. It's really hard for the same people who value money for whatever it is they value it for, like where the money goes in this country, in these systems, or to even within this industry, the people that the money goes to versus the people that it doesn't. I mean, there's so many layers to all of it. But I also think as an artist within that, I am willing to be undervalued by someone else because I'm not undervaluing myself anymore. That's okay if someone else doesn't know my worth, because I do. And I do now. And that's been a big journey to get to this place. But with that, I don't want to sound like it's, oh yeah, like they can just pay artists whatever because like I know my worth. No, like it's okay that they don't know my worth because I do. It's not okay that nobody knows and that we're all forgetting our worth because these other people are misunderstanding it. Because of the number on the paycheck or because the job pays $100 a week, then that's what I'm worth. No. That's really sad that's what people think it's worth because that's the dollar value assigned to it. But if we know that that's not the value, and it's so much more than that, because it's also more than monetary, so much more. Me doing this work, me wanting to do this job, I get so much more out of it than a paycheck. So much. And if I also get a paycheck, like, oh, that's awesome. That's the goal, right? Because then I get to be paid to do what I love. But it's the idea of, okay, I am okay being misunderstood if I understand myself. If I don't understand myself, I'm very much at risk of being misunderstood and like breaking down over it, because then that's confirming my fear that I'm misunderstood. But if I'm not, if I can be understood by myself and by those that I know understand me and trust me, and if I can feel that, then it's okay if someone else misunderstands me, because it's not about me, And so, living this creative life is going to be misunderstood, and that's okay. I mean, I misunderstood it for a while. I misunderstood myself, and I misunderstood what I was doing here, and I misunderstood why I wanted this, why I'm pursuing this career, why it's here. I misunderstood all of that, and I got caught up in all of the things that it could mean. But now I feel a better understanding for myself and why I'm here and what I want. And so I'm okay right now if other people don't understand that, even within this same industry. I am okay redefining my creative life all the time. And that's just what it is right now. And if I can pray to find financial, emotional, and creative fulfillment through that, and through the acceptance that I can get all of those things wherever I get them, I get to define where I search for that and what it means for that to be in line with my creative career. I get to decide that. So, okay, let's go. Let's figure it out, you know? Did I answer your question? No, I didn't, because your question was, how do we create systems? And again, I prefaced at the beginning, I didn't fully have all the thoughts on that, but yeah, I'm definitely on this internal wavelength journey, you know. Okay, just accept and believe and it'll all be fine. No, but truly, I'm at a place where I don't know how the systems need to change. I know that they do, and I know that they can, and I know that there are people smarter than me actually working on that piece of it. I want to know more, and I want to think more about this. I love this question page. Thank you, because it's really important. And now I'm like, wow, okay, this is internal, and okay, what can change? What can change? How can this industry look different? How can people's perception of a creative life look different? How can this, if people are misunderstanding me or misunderstanding us or this or creativity or whatever, if that's being misunderstood and not completely accepted in the way that I feel like it can be or that I'm coming to, what can change? And how can I help change that? And I think part of this conversation, part of me wanting to even share my thoughts, is a part of my version of talking this out, figuring this out, and opening the door to the possibility of, okay, what is possible? And I'm expressing my own internal process of coming to a certain level of acceptance and understanding about this career and this life. And maybe people relate, and maybe if more of us relate and we can talk about it even more, then we can start to go, oh, and here's what we could do with it. Here's what maybe we can change, or maybe just the more we all come together, then maybe it'll get clearer. Maybe the systems will get clearer. Maybe it'll start to make more sense about how we can actually create a system to support these ideas in a different way. Because it's hard, and it's been hard to get to these ideas and to get to this place of acceptance and understanding in myself, because it's not set up for me to just have that easily. I mean, I certainly wasn't. And I just know going through theater programs and acting schools and dealing with this industry, it's hard. And it's up to us to really find that in ourselves. And I think continue to reflect it with one another so that it doesn't have to be so hard for everyone. And it can get easier for us the more that we share it and support each other in it. And I hope it would also make it easier for other people. It's a big goal of mine, is to share my thoughts and my ideas, because I feel really proud of where I've gotten to in my own internal life. And I really believe that sharing these ideas sharing the ideas allows them to be found by people who need to find them, by who I was years ago, searching for whatever it was that I was searching for. Just sharing ideas like this, talk about being affected by another person and being inspired by other people. That comes from other people sharing their ideas. And I love that I have an opportunity to share, because I want to share it all together. And I also just want to really open up and be honest about my struggles and what I learned from them, because I've learned a lot, and I have learned a lot from other people sharing what they learn. So I hope I can do a little bit of the same. And so with that, thank you so much to Paige for this incredible topic. Please share your thoughts below, everyone. If you are also a creative, if you are also an auditioning actor in New York City, hit me up. Hit me up. Share your thoughts. Do you totally disagree with me? Are you like, Claire, literally what? What? Like, I can't believe you said that. Please tell me. Like, please. Because I am going to be editing this. And I'm going to be like, whoa, I said that? Okay, here we go. But anyway, please share your thoughts on all of this. Wow, I am just so grateful that I even have this space to share and that you're listening. Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. Thank you. I can't say it enough. I love you. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourself. And remember, whatever you are carrying, you don't have to carry it alone. And you can be here and lay it on me. Woo, we did it. Bye.